Welcome back to another fine episode of the Esoteric Scholar brings you the Hermetic Tarot. Welcome to my dynamic voice right now. I'm kind of excited to do these. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. The Lovers, Children of the Voice Divine. Children is a keyword, and divine, okay? So basically this goes into the mythology that the spoken word created the known universe, right? So basically coming back, using little phonetics here, God's voice, children, so us. It's mortals, pretty much. Even though that the symbolism in here, in the history behind it, is more about some mythology. It's more about the children of God and their struggles, right? All right. So you have a Sagittarius emblem up here, and we have our Gemini. Now, the card itself is Gemini, and the Hebrew letter up here is the Zion, and this is the 6th card of the tarot. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is this huge chain and this serpent, or known as a dragon. Now, we have our Andromeda, who is chained to this rock, and we have Perseus, who is slaying a dragon. Now, the mythology behind this is Perseus came back to find that they have sacrificed Andromeda to the sea serpent because the sea serpent was devouring and destroying the local community. So Andromeda was tied up as the sacrifice to appease the sea serpent. Well, Perseus was like, hell no, that's my girl. Well, not at the time. It wasn't his girl, but he didn't want that to happen. So he killed the sea serpent. And then his reward was Andromeda, and that's why they are so close to each other inside the constellations, as they were put together for eternity in the stars. Alright, so we're done. Nope, just kidding. Alright, so we have a sword, we have this sea serpent, we have water, we have rock, we have chain, we have feminine, we have masculine, we have wind, you can see by the clothing of her. Alright, so let's start with the chains. So the chains represent in my opinion, in this card, they represent a committed relationship, a committed connection. You are bound to a solid foundation, a solid structure. You obviously have a passion between each other, as symbolized by the Sagittarius elements in this card. Okay, the fire, the passion between the two. He is frustrated that she is bound for a sacrifice. So he is killing her threaten or her attacker, her persecutor. So he is defending her because she is bound against her will, but this is a relation of the connection between two individuals. So you have a physical constraint, but then you have this etherical, metaphysical, emotional boundary, emotional connection, emotional chain that binds. If we move up to the top right here, we can see the Hebrew letter of the Zan, the Zain. Now, that is a symbolism of sword, and that is reflective of how Perseus is utilizing the sword to defeat his foe, the dragon or serpent that you see there that we were just talking about. Now, you see we have the Gemini symbol here, so there are some Gemini influences along with the Sagittarian influence of this as well.
it is important that when you study this card that you start to think about how cards such as this one interact with the other cards of the tarot. This one will relate with temperance. So once we get to temperance, you'll see how they start to connect to each other's. And it's a duality card. It has the Gemini aspect of it, the twins. So that plays into that part as well, whereas part of this card has that Gemini vibe, while as part of the card has the Sagittarian vibe to it. Now, the card itself here, it can bring about how you have, as we mentioned, love and connection. It could be beauty, but it can also be impulsiveness. It can also be motivation, as Perseus was motivated to free the captured Andromeda, and that was his movement. So you can have the underlying fire there where, that Sagittarian energy, that passion that moves you and motivates you. Love has a lot of fire energy into it. So you can see how this will correlate to temperance in the future. Now, one thing I kind of want to think about here is we didn't necessarily talk too much about the water against the rock, and the serpent coming out of the water when the Andromeda is captured on the rock there. So she is more of the water type energy, more of the fluid dynamics of these two people. Whereas you have Perseus bringing this fire energy, you have the Andromeda having that cooling energy, not even calm, because the ocean can be crazy, but it's not necessarily calm. But you see the duality aspect in that as well. So those are some things to think about when you see this, is you can see this as a method of breaking the bonds that chain you down. You can see this as a way of becoming more free with this card as well. It's kind of a symbolism of that. Or it can be a symbolism of unity or something of that nature as well. Being that the serpent is coming out of the waters of stagnation, you can see this as a change in your current situation if you were to utilize this and pull this from the deck as well. So those are some cool aspects of it, and let me know what you guys think.